Hello, what is with the camera? Come on now. That's an inauspicious way to start, the blurry camera.
It's a little bit there.
There
it goes.
Hey, it's the Gen-Xers, Dan and Margie.
Hello, guys.
Been thinking about, that's a boring way to start the show. We need something cooler.
Something cooler? Like that?
Cooler. The most minimalist amount of cool you can be, just like.
Oh, okay. So if you're going to be
barely
really
enough. This is how we're going to introduce the show. What up?
Maybe just one eyebrow?
Yeah.
I really had to concentrate to do that one eyebrow.
I think that'd get us a lot of fans in here quick.
Oh, yeah.
We started doing that. They said, look how cool those people are. They're so aloof.
I want to watch them even more.
I do. Their distance makes me want to know them.
Their distance makes me want to get even closer.
Oh, have we got a lot on the agenda today? My goodness gracious. Mm-hmm. Why don't you tell me how your week's been?
My week's been fantastic. You know why?
Why?
Because we put up the Christmas tree.
Yeah, we did, and it looks great. You put up the Christmas tree. I've been a little bit of flare up. It looks good.
You know, and I've noticed as the years go by, it's less and less people putting up the Christmas tree until it's only me. But I kind of like it. I'm like, you know, I think you and the girls will step in and, you know, hang one or two, and then...
Well, I think that maybe we learned it over years is the Christmas tree is going to turn out kind of how Mom wants it anyway. So.
Well, that's, I mean, I'm...
You're the best at it.
Well, that also, but I'm pretty flexible.
But I mean, we were there. The girls were there. We were hanging out, putting it up. You know, yeah. You're pretty flexible. I was just joking on that, but
I know.
It looks good. Got a few presents under there. None for old Dan. A couple for Margie.
Yet.
Yeah.
We've got a couple. Might be showing up today, maybe.
On a Sunday.
Yeah, on a Sunday.
We gotta go shop a day. I don't know about you folks if you've done out your shopping yet. Mm-hmm. It's a madhouse out there. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna start doing this on Sundays because I take methyltrexate on Fridays and I'm too tired. So yeah. Anyway, that's that. We went to a Christmas party last night.
Mm-hmm. We went to my work Christmas party, which was fantastic, and I won a movie projector set. So we now have the means to show movies on, I think it's like 120-inch screen. Let's show them. Let's show them how big the screen is.
This thing here.
So, you know, you can do this indoors or outdoors, one of those lovely movie projector kits. So, okay, let me grab this other end. All right, you ready? Yes. We're gonna show them. Here it goes.
90 feet wide.
So come this way just a little bit, Dan. 97 feet wide.
Keep in mind, I'm 6 foot 9 inches tall.
Right. Very nice, though. We got
for free. Very, very nice.
Yeah, I won that from a drawing at work.
Yeah.
And came with the projector, the speaker, the screen, some hooks. Like, it came with everything. I'm like thrilled with it.
What do you want to watch on it first? Our show? This?
Yes.
Put it up out. We'll just project it on the neighbor's house. The whole block can watch it.
That's how we do our advertising now.
Yeah.
No, you know, I don't know what I want to stream first.
New blockbuster, an old classic.
You know, and we can stream. You know, obviously it's a Bluetooth projector. We could even do a series like Severance, which we just finished.
We just finished season 1 of Severance, and it's a mind-bending extravaganza. It's really. We're going to do a more official review on it. I think it's really good, right?
Yeah. That is a teaser for our upcoming review of Severance, which I hope you guys tune into. And of course, also, as you're watching here, you need to hit like and subscribe.
Yeah, do it for the sake of this cat.
Right.
Please do it for this cat.
Yeah.
Mellings.
Mr.
Marshall Mellingtons. Only you can like and subscribe and make his day.
That's right.
I caught him humping my robe the other day. told you about that.
Really?
Yeah, that thing immediately went into the washing machine. And even now, I'm a little afraid to put it on.
Right. Right. So he has a girlfriend now. If you want to get Mellings a real girlfriend so that he doesn't have to...
He was taking out his frustrations because you people didn't like and subscribe enough videos.
You need to hit like and subscribe.
So, Christmas party.
Yeah.
Christmas shopping. Everything seems Christmas right now.
It is.
Did we do anything this week that wasn't Christmas related?
Well, like I said, we just finished Severance. We will be doing a review of that on this channel. So please, subscribe so you can see that, or, just watch it. If you don't want to subscribe, at least watch it, for goodness sake. But you also played a really cool game.
Been playing some No Man's Sky on the PlayStation 4, which might be one of the reasons there was only one video up this week instead of normally like 3. But also I've been a little bit of flare-up, but that's also because of No Man's Sky.
Right.
But it's just a space exploration game. It came out in 2014, I think, and it wasn't ready. It was really bad. I tried it then because I like, survival crafting games. It's had, I don't know, maybe 10 major free updates since then, and it's just a deep, fun game. You can set the controls kind of almost any way you want now, so I've got it where there's no combat. There's some grinding, enough to make it a little bit challenging, but not that it's killing me, so... It is a really gentle game on your hands. It's very, very relaxing and fun to play. It's not a super challenging, but it is deep, and there's a lot to do. Yeah.
It's really, really gentle on your hands to play until you hit about that 7th hour. And then you really start to feel it.
That's when my hands really start swelling up and hurting. Yeah, about hour 7 or 8. That's when
Right.
you're like a balloon. It's like, no show this weekend.
Well, I know you were. It is a really cool game. I don't play it, but I just walk by and see it, and see you like building these things, and like you have a ship called the
Battlestar Fat Lactica.
Okay. Mm-hmm. The things that you name your planets. Are
Margie,
cool.
I name a lot of not a lot of them. Margie.
Mm-hmm.
Margie 1, Margie Prime.
Right. So really cool game. But yeah, it seems really laid back and relaxed, and that's probably why you do wind up playing it for so long, because
you can set the difficulty settings up to more hazardous and make it a more, kind of traditional survival game where survival is actually hard. But that's not what I was looking for. I like going around discovering the new planets and whatnot.
Well, I know you used to play Minecraft, and it's similar. I mean, it's a kind of a similar concept in a way.
Pretty much, I would say all these modern crafting survival games owe a big ton to Minecraft. I guess that was probably the first procedural one like that, or at least the first big one. But
well, when you talked about Planet Margie, I was wondering if you've ever, because it made me think of a time when I was young, and I didn't really like my name.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone through that?
No, I remember when we, were first dating or whatever, when you were courting me.
Chasing after you.
Yeah, you said not to call you Marge. Call me what you want, basically said, do not call me Marge. Why? Explain that, man.
I really don't mind it now. Just saying. But no, when I was younger, I was the only kid I knew named Margaret.
I had at least 3 great aunts named Margaret.
Right, and that's what happens. Every time, with the exception of 2 times, because I had a classmate, finally, when I got to high school, who was named Margaret. And I've been introduced to a little baby, because I was waiting on a couple at Applebee's long ago, and they saw my name tag and were like, "Oh, our baby is named Margaret." I was like, well, I've never, this is the youngest person I've ever met named Margaret, because they are great aunts, Geemaws, Meemaws, Nanas, Grandmas. They're always older women, because it's
beautiful name.
Well, it's an old-fashioned name. It's definitely an old-fashioned name. And speaking of Marge, I learned growing up.
Cat hairs all over me.
Right.
They're everywhere. Oh,
Yeah.
come on. Sorry.
Speaking of Marge, I was going to say, I learned really quickly growing up that nothing good rhymes with Marge.
Well,
in school.
I could think of a few things, but I'm not going to say them because I don't want to traumatize you.
Large.
But if you folks know any, please put them below in the
Barge.
comments. What derogatory rhymes can you come up with for Marge?
But did you ever... So, I know me and my little friends back then, like, we would make up names for ourselves. Did you ever make up any names for yourself? Like,
I mean, of course, playing or whatever, but I was always happy with my name. I don't think I ever thought of it either way. I'm Dan. If your name is Dan, anywhere you go, you're automatically the man. Comes Dan the man.
There you... Okay.
Right? You just meet someone new. You tell them your name's Dan. At least 1 in 20 times, that person go, Dan the man. Having never met you.
Right.
And so, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Not a bad life being a Dan.
Right. It's Marge. You wouldn't want to do that. Marge the Barge.
I like Daniel, but no one has ever really called me that for whatever reason. So when I was a kid, it was Danny and then Dan, but I like Daniel. Daniel's son from Karate Kid. How could you not like it?
Well,
it's a noble name.
I wanted to be in 2nd grade and 3rd grade. 1st grade, 2nd grade, about that age. I had this name picked out for myself that I wanted to be, and it was Danielle Washington.
See? Then you would have been Dan the man.
I could have
great.
been. I was
Danielle Washington.
Danielle Washington. I picked that out specifically because my best friend at the time was named Danielle. Okay. I didn't stop to think about how maybe that might be confusing for us, as best friends, calling each other Danielle all day long. But I wanted to be Danielle because I thought it was the most beautiful name I'd ever heard. And I chose the name Washington because I thought that the portrait of George Washington in our classroom was one of the most dignified, regal things I've ever seen in my life.
That's so cute.
And I was like,
that's so cute.
I want to be Washington. I want to be Danielle Washington. And then I'll be queen of everything.
Wow, you had high hopes. You wanted,
That was my fondest wish.
So you thought it would help you move up socially.
I guess, yeah.
If your name was Danielle Washington and not Margaret.
And not Margaret the Fargret.
I like Margaret. In fact, I did. There was a brief time where I wanted to change my name to Marge the Barge.
Oh, you did?
Wow. But that was a bit of a professional wrestler, though.
Well, and that would have been confusing between you and I, calling each other Marge the Barge all day long. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah.
I was going to say that, speaking of names, a little something that we did last night, and you guys should totally get this, creative journal, creative thinking journal. It's got a bunch of puzzles in it and things that you can do that are fun. Some of them are like games. Some of them are, like I said, puzzles or whatever. We did a creative exercise last night about names. It says you own 9 cats. What are their names, Dan?
We really do own 4.
We own 4.
Too much.
So this is not a stretch of the imagination here.
Well, what will we come up with?
We have good old San Antone, who's the toughest one.
Sounds tough.
Right? Meow-Choo Pichu. Ronald Squeezely.
I like that one.
I like that one. Lil Nugs.
Lil Nugs are good.
Num Nums. Yeah. And then you have...
Bill. Da Hump. Because Melling's his new name.
Right.
Willie Nelson. And Willie Nelson.
And then that one last cat. And everybody has this cat. We have this cat. Dirk Jerkley. Yeah. He's a jerk.
Yeah. Well, they're all kinds of jerks. They're cats.
Right.
Look, only other thing I did this week, not Christmas related, although it does mean that you're not getting a Christmas present. And maybe we'll be on the streets. I got to get some teeth, right? I got to get some teeth work. It costs us $6,000, man. Mm-hmm. That's with insurance.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It's no wonder people go to Mexico and Canada for dental work.
Yes. And medical work as well.
Yeah.
That's pretty legit, and it's pretty widespread practice. And people get good work done down there for a fraction of the price. They really do.
They do, yeah. And actually, we thought about looking into it until we found something we could afford because sometimes teeth work can get into 30, 40 grand.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, it is. It is. And dental work, I just have to say, I am not a huge fan of insurance, but I'm not going to go into that rant.
One of these days we will.
Yeah.
There got plenty of things about insurance.
But dental, for whatever reason, dental work is always, it's undercovered. And, they only cover a portion of it a lot of the times. And it's never enough. I remember one insurance that I had that only covered like 20%. 20%. And then you were responsible for the 80% remainder.
The dental insurance I had now starts out at, you got a free cleaning, and then it was 10% after that, and then 20, and then all the way up to 30, I think was as high as it would get or something. I don't know. It's crazy. But yeah, so, and I don't need to hear anybody in comments talking about you should take better care of your teeth. You don't know my life, sucker. But anyway, so it's going to be some pretty serious work. So there'll probably be a month after December 20th where we won't be doing a lot of live stuff, but we're going to pre-record some stuff. I got plenty of clip videos coming up, including some Battlestar Galactica, I hope. Yeah. That's a long-term project. I have some things
that I'm going to be doing, just some small things.
So
that will, like I said, that are going to involve Dan, but more behind the scenes where he can relax and take his time.
So we'll still have plenty of content, but the live stuff probably from December 20th till, at least a month. There'll be a little fewer and farther between. Mm-hmm. All right.
You know what else we did this week besides that had nothing to do with Christmas? We watched Willow. And we're not angry. We're just disappointed in you, Willow.
Not in you personally, Warwick Davis.
No, you're great.
Yeah, we love you.
So, for anybody who's watched the movie Willow...
Let me grab my notes. I actually typed up and printed out some notes.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll
They're right. Keep going.
Oh, okay. For anybody who specifically grew up with Willow, because we were, those were formative years. I think I was in junior high, high school. 88.
Yeah.
High school. It was my sophomore year when that came out, and it was a special kind of a movie. It kind of turned some fantasy tropes on their heads, and we were talking about this.
Well, I started watching it, the first time when it first came out with my cousin, and I was a kind of nerd kid, loved all the fantasy stuff, and he did not like that kind of stuff. And we both love this movie, which I think speaks to kind of its uniqueness. Mm-hmm. It's just funny. It's this weird kind of family-friendly, dark, edgy comedy. It's like dark, edgy comedy for people who are going to grow up to like dark, edgy comedy, I think, maybe.
Yeah. It's like a beginner's guide to dark, edgy comedy. Dark, edgy comedy for the preteen, I guess.
Sure, and a dark fantasy for a kid that takes, a family-friendly movie that takes kids seriously. It doesn't talk down to them or whatever. The villains are actually scary. When Bav Morda turns those people into pigs, that's a horrifying scene. Yeah. There's real stakes. People die. Mm-hmm. It's another George Lucas film, but unlike the Stormtroopers where they can't hit anybody when they shoot, people actually croak.
Yeah, they're actually, but it's not overly, it doesn't get into the blood, guts, and gore or anything like that. But it is a dark fairy tale type of movie. And it does turn a lot of tropes on their head because Willow, the main character, the hero in this movie, is a little person. Mm-hmm. And the person who would normally be the hero in the movie, Mad Mardigan, is actually just the sidekick in this movie.
The person who normally be the sidekick is the hero, and the person who normally be the hero is the sidekick. Yeah, and all of the most powerful people in it are women, from Bavmorda, the bad guy, to Lorna Dannon, to Sorsha, to Rozelle, who's the most powerful wizard on the good people side. And the thing about Willow, even you get to the end, it doesn't follow a traditional thing as, okay, he becomes this great sorcerer. He wins just because he's brave enough to try. And smart and brave and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And so it turned all these kind of tropes on their head, right? And then I saw this stupid review in CNN that's called the original Willow generic fantasy, which obviously from all this time I highly disagree with. I don't think it was. I'm a fantasy lover. I don't think there's one thing generic about Willow.
Them's fighting words, CNN.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you get a fellowship together and you go on a quest. That's every hero story, but after that, it's not. It was pretty cutting edge for its time. In a way that just did it without being preachy or whatever.
Right. Know? And here's the thing, and you said this earlier. The original Willow was cutting edge.
Power off.
Sorry, guys. It was cutting edge, and it like we said, it kind of turned everything on its head. So instead of putting that same idea back out there, because it's still cutting edge today.
Yeah. How many other little people heroes have you seen in? I don't know. I guess maybe Tyrion from
right
Game of Thrones.
But even he was like an anti-hero in a way, or but and you know, the women in power, and just the way they told the story was just a different way of telling the story itself. Instead of putting that out, they Zach and Cody this right up.
Yeah, I would argue that Willow is a truly radical film that a lot of people probably don't even think of it that way. And then we get here. So we get first introduced to the main character, and it's not even. Well, I don't know anything about contemporary Disney teen dramas, but I know when our girls were young, those teen dramas like Zach and Cody, they're all just these smart, unlikable, shallow people, basically. Mm-hmm. And those are the people we're introduced to right off the bat.
Right, and we're supposed to like them.
And there's 3 love stories in the first 30 minutes. Well, I mean, in the first episode, I would say at least.
Yeah.
Of people we don't know.
And don't care about. Again.
And everything we've been shown about them is bad.
Yeah.
They have no reason to like anybody.
No, and they have no reason to like each other, but somehow, in an unlikely way, they all band together. And they become so close so quickly because you have complete and utter strangers who are unlikable sitting down with one another and telling each other these deep, dark things about their own life, and that would never happen.
Yeah, they have these emotional scenes where they open up and tell someone about something, and the scene itself seems like it would be fine if it was set in episode 3 or 4 or like halfway through a movie.
Or even in a scene where it made sense.
Yeah, and not as immediately after you met someone.
Right.
That you have not even said anything else to yet.
Right.
Except maybe something snarky.
Right.
So we're introduced to Mad Mardigan's kids. His daughter early on, and his son, the Lothario. So in Willow, when we're introduced to Mad Mardigan, he's in a cage, and he's a cocky. We're not really supposed to like him yet, but it's Val Kilmer, so he's being funny and charming, even if he is being a jerk. But he's in a cage, obviously humbled and in trouble.
Right.
So when we meet these kids, they're the prince and princesses, they're rich, and they just seem spoiled brats.
Right.
Right.
And they have no excuse for being snarky and jerky, you know.
And so here is where I just want to say, because I know that crowd is out there, we're not the anti-woke crowd. We're not here to get on Disney Plus or Willow about whatever they do with that stuff. But like I said, the original Willow was radical. This presents Mad Mardigan's daughter as a lesbian, first of all, and I think that is great. But what they do with this and She-Hulk is present that as the main character trait, as if that in itself is, or with her being a female, as that itself is the most important character trait of this person.
Right.
That's not radical, because then they go on to be just as stereotypical or as dumb as anything else after they've paid their lip service.
Right. And that's exactly what it is. It's just as stereotypical to do that as it is to not include any of those.
What might have been radical was have a well-adjusted lesbian hero and not a snarky, angry, stereotypical lesbian teen hero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And one that might actually just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm treading on dangerous ground being an old white guy, but I mean, like I said, we're not jumping on the anti-woke stuff. We don't care about any of that. It's just presented so badly to be offensive, almost, to everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yep.
But yeah, so I don't know. So we don't care about them. I do think that Borman's okay, and Lorna Dannon, she seems kind of quirky and funny, maybe, if we actually get a chance to ever know anybody. And maybe these other characters, too, but...
I was going to say that it seemed... I felt better with the scenes where Warwick Davis was there, because he just seems a pretty cool guy, and that character is the whole reason we came back. So immediately you kind of light up whenever he gets on the screen. But despite his best efforts, because he's playing Willow pretty much as he's always played Willow, he's been given dialogue, however, that mimics these young, unlikable people.
Don't even get me started, yeah.
So they're making Willow even slightly snarky, sarcastic, and kind of shallow. And so they're even taking away the hero, really, that everybody wanted to come back and see. So Disney, stop. Tell the story about Willow. I mean, how crazy would that be, Disney, if you stepped outside of the box that way and told the story about Willow, who's now older?
Yeah,
how many older heroes do we have?
0?
No, we have a bunch, but
more than we used to. I mean, like, I guess even Iron Man and those folks were not spring chickens.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, hopefully it gets better. Everything is, like, it's not the characters, it's not the actors, it's the writing. It's, they go in and out of, like, kind of like the dialogue you'd expect from Willow, kind of old-timey English stuff, even though it mixed English accents and Americans or whatever, to, like, modern teen slang.
Modern day slang.
It just gets thrown in there.
Yeah, I almost expect somebody to, like, whip out a cell phone and just start scrolling. I don't know. Yeah, there's a mixture of languages. I don't even know. I don't know, the scenery and the scenery and the set pieces, the set decoration, costumes aren't really as well defined. They just kind of like said, in general, it's like this, so we're going to throw just a bunch of general things at it and just kind of encompass.
It really has none of the charm of the movie. Sometimes when Warwick Davis is on, it does.
Yeah.
Borman is good. Whoever plays him, that's a pretty good character.
Wait, which one is he? Borman?
The guy that was in the prison, I guess one of Mad Mardigan's old friends.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, he seems fairly likable.
Or at least funny.
Mm-hmm.
One scene that I did think captured the original kind of essence of Willow is when that old guy is giving that speech, out here you've got to be on guard at all times, and as soon as he's giving it, he gets shot and killed.
Right, and then he falls over.
That's the kind of funny, dark humor that the original had, right?
I agree.
I don't know. I'm hoping it gets better because Willow really is a beloved movie to me, and we don't like to poop on stuff. We don't like to give bad reviews or do that kind of thing. But boy,
we also want to watch out for you though. Yeah. And if you're looking to watch Willow with an eye towards nostalgia for the original, you're not gonna find a whole lot of things to.
But if you're looking for iCarly set in Willow land,
you got it.
It's for you.
Disney did it.
Yeah, Disney did it again. All right, enough complaining. What else we got? Anything?
Well, Willow was. I was gonna talk to you real quick about some underrated movies because thinking about Willow, and Willow is actually on my list. I asked you to come up with 3 movies that you think are underrated. Well. And I put Willow at the top of my list, thinking about this week's activities of watching the Willow series made me appreciate that movie even more. It did set the fantasy movie tropes on its head. It did throw a little humor in there, and humor for everyone, children and adults alike, without going over the top. It was an action movie. It was just really, really good. And Warwick Davis, amazing, and Val Kilmer, amazing.
Yeah. I put that on mine too because probably because it was on our minds, and we rewatched it, and after looking up some of the reviews of the show, like that one, I guess. I mean, it did flop, and now it has a big following, and people love it, but it still doesn't have the huge following. It's not like an IP like Star Wars or something like that, which I guess they're trying to make it. I don't. Who knows what, but. It's really good. Like, it still holds up incredibly well. It's just got incredibly good screenplay. I mean, obviously, the special effects sometimes are not what we would think of now, but at the time, they were quite good.
Bad.
As Lucasfilm, it was as good as they could get at the time.
They're really not bad either. Like, you're going to say, okay, you know what? That's a two-headed claymation monster. I know that. But you're not going to pick it apart because you're going to be engrossed in the story. Yeah. And it's not, so bad that you're going, my goodness, is that the Dalek in there?
It's just it might be my favorite fantasy film.
Yeah.
That I can think of.
It's one of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I put, for my second choice, I put Event Horizon.
I've seen that once so long ago. I don't remember a lot about it.
Me and our youngest daughter are kind of obsessed with this being almost a really, really, really good movie. They almost got it in so many ways. I think the main problem that I have with Event Horizon is they didn't really pick a direction and go with it. It's kind of muddled a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think it's highly underrated. And I would, if I had the talent, I would rewrite it just a half a step.
Didn't you say
off? No,
Did you say earlier like the screenplay was almost really good?
It was almost.
The direction was almost really good.
Yeah, I mean they almost had it, but like I said, me and Ash talk about it all the time. It could be the bones of a really, really good story and a really creative, something that you've never heard before, is here. So I would recommend it, even though it's not the brilliant movie that we envision in our heads. It's still a really good movie.
I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I know what that feeling you mean when you're watching something. You're like, I could just turn this knob just a little bit. This movie would be so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. My second one. Oh, and I forgot to get my signed Carl Weathers picture. Do you want to grab it while I start talking?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's right in there. Rocky 2. Rocky 1, obviously. I mean, your mileage varies on anything, but it's a great movie. Oscar nominated and whatnot. The acting is great. Burgess Meredith, perfect in it. It's just a wonderful film. After that, what you think of Rocky is just going to depend on how much you like kind of typical sports movies, paint-by-number sports movies, right? To varying degrees with Rocky 3 through whatever. Rocky 2 often gets left, like people remember Rocky 3 for Mr. T, Rocky 4 because, the big Russian and all that. People remember Rocky 5 because they just wish they couldn't remember it. And whatever. When people remember Rocky 2, they oftentimes get it mixed up with the first one. Like, I saw an interview with Sylvester Stallone the other day where he said something like 75% of people remember Rocky winning in the first one, which he didn't. Mm-hmm. Sorry for the spoilers. I hope it's too late. But he did. He doesn't win till the second one. So I think they mix the two up in their mind a lot. But 2 is in of itself a really good movie. Shows us way more about Apollo, who ends up being probably my favorite because I really like him. And so, a few Christmases back, Margie got me this.
Oh, it's hard to There we go. Sorry.
Signed Carl Weathers.
Glare in your eyes there. Yeah, that's Carl Weathers' signature, not Rocky's.
I wanted Apollo Creed's signature on mine. Yeah, he's my favorite. But it's not it's not a cinematic classic like Rocky is, but it's probably the second best in this series, I think.
My third and final one, and this is one of the most underrated, one of the best movies I've ever seen. I watched it again when I was high school, preteen, maybe a junior high school, but it still remains one of the funniest comedies I've ever seen in my life, called Better Off Dead.
Oh, it is so good. It's so funny. Yeah.
If you have not seen this is a movie starring John Cusack, and a bunch of people that later went on to have larger roles, like you were talking about, Chosen.
I can't remember the actor's name off the top of my head, but the guy who plays Chosen in Karate Kid and Cobra Kai, he's the person that he does the racing, like the drag racing, and he talks like Howard Cosell.
Yeah.
Always challenging the guy to a race.
If you have not seen this movie, you need to get it and see it. It's really, really funny. Trigger warning, the main character, John Cusack, is the story is about him trying to kill himself. Because
never has it been funnier.
Because his girlfriend just broke up with him. He's got parents that don't pay attention to him. He's got a little brother who's annoyingly more cool than he is. But he keeps getting distracted.
$2 in debt.
He's $2 in debt from the newspaper dude. But it's hilarious. It is really hilarious.
It's a completely different kind of 80s. And I think that's the common with some of our movies we've got here, is that they were just totally different than the movies of their time. Like, it's not like any other teen comedy of the 80s. Mm-mm. It's like it's parody of those while also transcending those.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's not exactly a parody of them, but it pushes things, kind of like when Airplane first came out, and that was just like this. They took slapstick and pushed it so far. They push the comedy way far.
It gets to be absurd.
It is absurd, but it's
French fries,
hilarious.
dressing. Well, speaking of movies that were different than everything at the time,
here it comes.
This doesn't surprise you. My final most underrated movie for this time is Phantasm. Mm-hmm. There are 5 of them now. Each one underrated, I mean. Like, there's some movies I love, like Grown Ups. Not highly regarded. And I think it's perfectly rated. I realize that I like Grown Ups just because I like it. Mm-hmm. Something about it is funny to me, but it's not necessarily a great movie. I argue that Phantasm really is a great movie, and you highly disagree on this.
I don't highly disagree. I slightly disagree. But mostly I disagree.
I think maybe I've changed your mind just a little bit. I think I've at least gotten you to understand what I like about it, even if,
There are, what's really funny about Phantasm? It's kind of like Diet Coke. People on the outside can't really understand why people like it, but the people who like it love it. And it has influenced a lot of directors, a lot of writers.
Yeah, J.J. Abrams loves it.
Yes. There are a lot of, very artistic people. I trust their, I don't trust their artistic vision, but I appreciate their artistic visions that refer back to this movie as something inspiring. I don't know why, but okay.
I think if you go into it thinking it's going to be anything, then it's easy to be disappointed, because it's like it wasn't like any other horror movies at the time. It's just as much sci-fi as horror, for one, but like this weird sci-fi. It was kind of the last psychological weird thing before the slasher craze took off. So it was kind of between the 70s and 80s horror sort of aesthetic, you know?
It was kind of fantasy sci-fi in a way.
Yeah. And it just, the best way I've ever heard described it is like it's just like a fever dream. Don't try to make sense of it. Just experience it.
Now, in that respect, I think absolutely it hits the mark. Because it does look and feel like a fever
It's like
dream.
a Jungian archetypal horror type thing, and I guess probably there was a personal stuff I could relate to. I mean, his brother dies in that. My brother died about the age he was in the movie, and my brother is the one who introduced me at the time. So I'm sure there's a lot of mixed up personal stuff. I love it. Reasons I love it too, but I just think the direction, the writing is just insanely, I use that word, insanely good.
Yeah. And was it Don
Corsicali, yeah.
Corsicali
Or
on both
however you
of
pronounce
those?
it.
Corsicali as a
Corsarelli.
director?
Yeah.
Corsarelli. Did he write it as well?
Yeah, writer and the director of all.
Okay.
Well, he's had a little help through on some of them, I think, but
Okay.
the original was like 3 hours and something long, I think, and it got cut down into like an hour and a half. I'd love to see that original one of these days, but
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, and it tonally, it does also have these weird, corny parts that you would see in stuff like The Evil Dead or whatever, which is like humor comedy, I guess, or humor horror, like Evil Dead kind of stuff. But,
Right, the little goofy one-offs and stuff.
so I could see it, and I can see how tonally it would throw people off when it has all this like surreal weirdness, and then also this goofy part or whatever. But I just love it.
And then Reggie.
And it has
the
a
ice cream
huge
dude.
cult following. I mean, it has its fans for sure, which I don't know, but I think the majority is in your camp of people.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's all right. Me and my fanatics, we're fine with just being a few of us.
Well, we're going to wrap up this week's show, but before we do, we're going to recommend Sushi Go Party.
Yeah, we're giving this a little play last night. Remember how much we liked it.
Yeah. This is our sponsor for this week. It's not really, but we'd like for you to be Sushi Go Party. Really good game. We just, like you said, we played this just last night. A little bit of math is involved, a little bit of strategy, but really fun. You play it in 3 rounds. You try to get the most points, and it's got cute little characters in it, and we like it. So you should play it, and you should also hit like and subscribe.
Please hit like and subscribe. If there's anything you take away from this week, Willow bad, or the Disney Plus version, Phantasm good. Bye, everybody. We're going shopping.
Everyone. Yeah, we're going shopping, but come back and see us.
Yeah, if we make it back, we'll
Right.
see you. If we make it back, we'll see you again.
Right. Bye.